Welcome to my channel. Now we got to have this conversation today. We talking Lakers and we're talking the WNBA. Yes, the Lakers and the WNBA. And I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room right out the gate. How did y'all let Trump finesse y'all like that to basically brokering and being a part of a $12 billion acquisition, the largest acquisition in modern history when it comes to business, the most expensive purchase of a franchise in franchise history, and that's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, or even a league. Okay, because if you did not know, Bob Iger and Kushner was trying to purchase a female soccer league in which Iger and his wife has a large stake in a women's soccer league. And then they were looking to get an expansion basketball team in Las Vegas. And somehow, some way, the Lakers go up for sale and nobody knows anything about it. It wasn't a bidding war. It wasn't announced publicly. They just told us that the Lakers were sold, or basically that Mark Walter sold the Lakers to Iger and Kushner. And if you did not know, Josh Kushner is Jared Kushner's brother. Okay, his little brother. And a lot of you, and like I, was all in my comments last week because I put in, I did a video last week, and you guys jumped in the comments. And most of the individuals that's in the comments nowadays are bots. You know, they're faceless pages. Nobody's willing to put their name or reputation behind the comment. So we know we're on to something now moving forward. But a lot of the individuals were, naive and saying, "Oh no, that Trump had nothing to do with it. That was that's Jared's brother, who's a Democrat and supports Obama." Okay, well, he may be a Democrat, he may have supported Obama, but since the DSA takeover, he's moving on, just like Bob Iger. Because if you really pay attention and really be honest with yourself, the DSA has taken over the Democratic Party. You know, there's a civil war going on within, and it's really has the party in tatters, and the party will no longer be the same because, individuals, independents, and more importantly, black men are leaving the party in droves. And no, that does not mean we're MAGA Republicans. And if y'all keep on playing, we're going to start the blue MAGA. But for the moment, let us live, because as independents, that's what we are. Okay, we're getting a divorce. We're leaving the Democratic Party, and we do believe that, we require and we are well deserved some compensation. We've been having conversations of reparations, and, the governor did an apology and all that, bump all that. We want some compensation. So we're going to be nonpartisan independents, because when you got three entities in the equation, you got the prosecutor, you got the defense, and then you have the judge. So as nonpartisan independents, we are the judge in the equation and the mediator between the two rivaling tribes. And one of the tribes is infighting because Hakeem Jeffrey has blasted the DSA. And a lot of your traditional Democrats have blasted the DSA, but the DSA is moving on and has taken over the party. Okay, so I'm tying in Josh Kushner's, his allegiance to when it comes to, him being in politics and being, in the Trump family business. Because whether Josh Kushner is a registered Democrat, whether Josh Kushner supported Obama or whatever the case is, one thing that we do know, that Josh Kushner is a capitalist. Okay. His company is called Thrive Capital. Okay. Thrive Capital. So if you are a capitalist, there's no way you could be a democratic socialist. Now, you could be a capitalist and be a Democrat, but in today's time, the party has moved on, and there's no way you could be a real Democrat and a capitalist at the same time. Because if you did not know, when we talk about billionaires, it's probably more, Democratic aligned billionaires. Okay. But then when you start talking about tax, the ultra rich, the billionaires tax, even Gavin Newsom, who's looking for a presidential bid, is basically running a anti-campaign against the California billionaires tax, because a lot of these companies, when you tax the ultra rich, they'll just move out the state and go to another state, because to my understanding, when that thing was announced, Mark Zuckerberg has purchased a house in Florida. A lot of these individuals have moved to Texas. So when you talk about capitalism versus socialism, capitalism is the American way. Socialism is anti-American, because socialism is associated with Marxism, and Marxism and socialism actually equals communism. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. So there's no way that Trump's son-in-law's brother is a Democrat in today's time, because they just made one of the biggest capitalistic venture capital deals of all time. He split the deal with Bob Iger. Where did Kushner get the $6.25 billion from? And that's the question, okay? Because he's not on no billionaires list. I looked it up. I don't see him on any rich and wealthy platform. I don't see him as being considered a billionaire. Okay, but he runs a venture capital company along with his brother, Jared Kushner, who runs Trump Enterprises, and he's a venture capitalist. So they're both venture capitalists. So when you are ultra rich, you basically, burn the candle from both sides. Okay, that's what you do. You burn the candle from both sides, and you look for opportunities to take advantage of, and then you capitalize on them. Okay, because at the end of the day, there's no way you could be a Democrat in today's time, especially with the takeover of the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, and be a capitalist at the same time. It doesn't work. So this is why I'm saying that the Democratic Party as a whole is on its last days. It's having a reckoning, and Americans are leaving the party. If you were center left, you are now centrist. If you were center right, you are now a centrist. And this is where the swing voters, this is where the nonpartisan independents, this is where, the position that we're going to champion, because we do support the Constitution. America has some finished business that they need to, adhere to, and got some unsettled business. So we're going to have these conversations moving forward. And that was the mindset of creating a better Black America. And if you did not know, Black is inclusive to everybody: Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, Kinsman, meaning we're all connected. We're all the human race. So we are going to be the humanitarians. So the venture capitalists, Trump's son-in-law's brother, Josh Kushner, okay, along with Bob Iger, roughly will own 83% of the Lakers if Jeanie Buss doesn't get in the way of it. And when I say Jeanie Buss, and to reset the room, we're going to be talking about, the Lakers acquisition, as well as the WNBA, because somehow, some way, they don't know what a woman is. And as long as they don't know what a woman is, that means, men, former NBA players could actually sign up and declare that they're a woman, because like I said, if that's their pronoun, that's their pronoun. And you could blame the Supreme Court on that. And we're going to have this conversation. But here's the headlines for today. Now, Jeanie Buss contests family sale of Lakers ownership stake to Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. Now, Jeanie Buss's attorney demanded her brothers retract statements. The Buss family is selling its 17.8 ownership stake in a court filing, because you got to ask the question: did Bob Iger and Kushner play Jeanie Buss? Jeanie Buss, when she sold the deal, when she sold the Lakers, the controlling interest to the Lakers, Mark Walters, she signed a 5-year deal. A 5-year deal, meaning you give me 5 years, I'll be the governor, meaning I would be, literally the CEO. I would work and continue with the operations that I've been doing for the last 20 years, and deal. So she thought that was basically going to be, grandfathered over to the new owners. But NBA rules say, to be governor or have a governorship for any professional basketball team, you have to have at least a 15% stake. So now they're looking to probably to restructure and sell 2.8%, so Jeanie Buss could stay on board. But it's looking like they're going to lose out on that. And even if they still, if they don't sell, okay, the Lakers' new owners own 66%. So if you split that in half, Iger and Kushner own 33% of the Lakers each. And if the Buss family trust sells their 17.8%, they'll roughly have 83% stake in the Lakers. And that's a large volume. That'd be the biggest majority owner. Literally, basically, I think the Clippers owner might have, 80+%, but, we would have to look up and do the research and figure it out. But that is a big power move. And if you want to basically think that a $12.5 billion acquisition could be made in the United States of America without the president being involved, come on. He demanded that ByteDance sells TikTok unless it adheres to the policies of America. He's doing the tariffs, anything that seems to be, American or outside of America, the president gets involved. So when I say the president owns the Lakers, he had a large part to do with this, because the fact that the Lakers did not go up for bid, the fact that the Lakers, we didn't have any public conversations about the Lakers are going to be sold or anything like that. It was just a backdoor deal that was signed behind back doors. We don't even know, the red tape or what's involved with it, but we know without shadow of a doubt, in the under the term of national security, the president shook the media, somehow jumped on a different plane. And my argument is that, or, my concern was that the move that Trump made so he can, broker this deal, because I know without shadow of a doubt, Kushner does not have $6.25 billion. Okay. He's not on the Forbes list or anything like that. And the fact that his brother is a venture capitalist and the president should not or cannot by law capitalize off of the his position. They call that pay for play. Okay, well, Jared, call your brother Josh and let's go ahead and make this deal, and we'll bring him into the family fold by brokering this big deal, and he'll be the face and one of the owners of the Lakers. Think about that. Got to have that conversation. So if you want to talk about it, if you want to debate it, put it in the comments. This story is not going anywhere. We're just getting in preseason football, so we're going to be having these conversations down the road. So go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments, and next time that we have this conversation, I will address these questions. Hit the notification. We're going to go live, because this fall is we're going to open up the gauntlet, and we're going to do the job and, do the community well by having these conversations, bringing this content to the people. So with that being said, hit that like, hit that notification, hit the subscription. And if you want to continue this conversation, put, something in the comments, put a question, and I'll tag you. And then when we have this conversation down the road, I will answer your questions. With that being said, how did Trump become the owner of the Lakers?